Before I begin, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more real-life stories of betrayal and resilience. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. I really want to hear what you do in a situation like mine. I never thought a simple joke could spiral into the most shocking night of my life. We were at a dinner with friends, laughter flowing, glasses clinking, the smell of roasted chicken filling the room. I tried to lighten the mood with something playful, something harmless. Well, at least my husband doesn't leave his socks everywhere anymore. I joked, nudging my wife, Emma. With a grin, the table erupted in laughter. But Emma's eyes flickered, just for a fraction of a second, like a cloud passing over the sun. That little shadow didn't escape me. I laughed it off, pretending I didn't notice. I wanted it to be nothing. But later, that shadow gnawed at me like a secret clawing its way out. Over the next week, little things began to stack up. She started leaving her phone on silent, tucking it under pillows or under the kitchen counter. Missed calls from her friends were explained away as work stuff, but the excuses fell forced like a badly rehearsed line. Once, I caught a glimpse of her texting under the table when she thought I wasn't looking. The message preview was gone before I could read it. My chest tightened in a way that didn't feel like worry. It felt like fear. I began questioning myself. Maybe I was overreacting. Maybe I was imagining it. But the gut instinct I tried to ignore kept gnawing at me during every quiet moment. The too quick smiles, the lingering texts, the subtle defensiveness. Then one evening it happened. I was grabbing a glass from the counter when Emma left her phone behind. A single vibration on the nightstand betrayed the incoming message. I hesitated. Part of me wanted to look away, but a stronger part needed to know. My thumb hesitated over the screen before I swiped. It was him, Mark, the same man she had introduced as just a friend from work. The texts weren't tame. They were intimate, filled with inside jokes, compliments that made my stomach twist, and plans. Plans I wasn't part of. And worse, they laughed about our last dinner. I felt numb, as if my body had stopped making sense. The laughter I had heard, the smiles, the normalcy, it had all been a mask. Everything I thought I knew about us was suddenly fragile glass, and I had been holding it all along. That night, I sat in silence, staring at the phone, replaying the joke I had made at dinner. My heart ached, not just from betrayal, but from the irony. I had laughed about trivial annoyances while the real truth was a dagger under the table. A few days later, I confronted her. We were alone in the living room, the air heavy with unsaid words. Emma, who's Mark? My voice was quieter than I intended, but every syllable felt loaded. Her face paled. It's not what you think, she whispered. But I could hear the guilt bubbling under her attempted denial. I saw the messages. I said, the jokes about dinner, the plans you're making without me. How long? Her silence was deafening. Finally, she admitted it. Several months. A slow, gnawing confession that made me feel like my chest was being hollowed out from the inside. She tried to explain, tried to justify, but the words fell on the floor like broken porcelain. For a week, I couldn't eat. I walked around the apartment haunted by memories that suddenly felt like lies. The way she laughed at my jokes, the way she touched my arm during dinner, the way I thought we were sharing our lives. Every small intimacy was now a reminder of deceit. I knew I had to decide how to respond. But I also knew I didn't want to be the man who lost his dignity in anger. So, when our friends invited us to another dinner, I went, but I didn't bring the weight of betrayal into the conversation. Instead, I made a joke. Well, at least my husband knows how to make an entrance, I said, smiling faintly, catching her off guard. Her reaction froze the room. She looked at me, eyes wide, mouth slightly open, words failing her. I realized in that moment that strength isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's choosing to reclaim your dignity, your life, and your self-respect. I left that night with clarity I hadn't had before. We spoke after, tears, apologies, explanations, but I had made my decision. Some loves, even the ones we thought were safe, are fragile, and some lessons painfully learned are invaluable. I've started rebuilding, slowly, deliberately, with every choice I make for myself. And while the betrayal will leave a scar, it will also leave me stronger, wiser about trust, about love, and about the silent strength it takes to walk away with your head held high. So, if you ever face a betrayal that made you question your world, know this. It's not the betrayal that defines you. It's how you rise after. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this. And drop a comment. Tell me, what would you have done if you were in my shoes?